All right, there's a lot of pressure. You've heard the term before, tons of pressure. Tons of pressure on people. So we thought today we'd be literal with it. How many tons of pressure are on quarterbacks this year? Because there's a lot of movement and a lot of things going on, and there's rookie quarterbacks and veteran quarterbacks who have moved. 1 ton being the least pressure, 5 tons being the most.
How many tons of pressure on Carson Wentz?
I think he's got 5 tons of pressure. First of all, he was a mess last year. He had the second worst completion percentage and second worst passer rating. So there are questions if he can play anymore. Lost his confidence. There are stories he wasn't good in the locker room. He has to prove himself as an athlete, prove himself physically, prove himself mentally, collaboratively. Is he a good guy? There's a lot of talk out there. I think there's a ton of pressure also. This team won last year. This team's ready to compete for a Super Bowl. There's no time to mess around. They're paying him a ton of money. The Colts don't spend freely. 5 tons.
How many tons of pressure are on Dak Prescott?
Very little, 2 tons. First of all, he's got his money, and he leads the NFL in pass yards per game over the last 2 years. He's not going to have to carry the offense. They've got excellent wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper. Zeke, by the way, is reportedly grinding in the workout room. I don't think he has to carry the team. I think the defense will be better. And I think if he goes 9-8, they'll just be darn happy to have him back. And that in the NFC will get you close to a playoff.
How about Sam Darnold?
I think about 4 tons of pressure. Okay, so first of all, they're not going to give him a lot of time. He doesn't have a long contract here, right? He doesn't have a lot of time. And this is actually, they've got some players offensively. Christian McCaffrey can play. Chuba Hubbard drafted. So you have 2 dynamic running backs. DJ Moore's a good receiver. Robbie Anderson, a deep threat he played with in New York. There's good players here. Now, they may not win games. That's not the thing with them. They could go 8-9, but if this offense is dynamic, and it wasn't with Teddy Bridgewater, then he's fine. The pressure is for Sam to cut down on the turnovers, not necessarily just win all these games. They're still in rebuilding mode. But can he make them a dynamic offense? He has all the pieces now.
Trevor Lawrence.
Very little, 2 tons of pressure. Rookie head coach. Listen, they've been to 1 playoff in 13 years. If they're fun and they're a dynamic offense and win 5 games, everybody's going to be happy. He's got a long leash here. Nobody's going to judge him week 1. It's also a very casual NFL market. It's more of a college football market than a pro market. There's not a ton of media pressure here.
How many tons of pressure are on Baker Mayfield?
I would say 4. I think we've come to the conclusion that he's not Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen or Justin Herbert as an athlete or Lamar Jackson. But I do think they have the best offensive line and best running game. I do think they have the right coach and GM. And the truth is, in the last 3 years, he has the second most turnovers in the league. There is a sense now that Baker can only screw it up. This team's going to make the playoffs. They've got an excellent offensive line and running game. The pressure is on Baker to be composed against the Baltimores, the Pittsburgh in big rivalry games. So there's real pressure. By the way, if he plays poorly, he doesn't get a long contract.
How about Jimmy Garoppolo?
I would say 2 tons of pressure, not a ton. He's not the future of the team. They drafted a quarterback, Trey Lance, with a number 3 spot. And there's no pressure on staying healthy. I mean, you get hurt or you don't. So, I mean, I think the pressure with him is, I mean, we know he's going to win if he's healthy. He has there. I think the pressure for him is, hey, I got to stay healthy. I've got to win some games because I'm not going to be here forever. And I want good teams and good rosters to trade for me or buy for me in the near future.
How many tons of pressure on Tua Tagovailoa?
I would say 5, but I'll say 4 because I think they're good enough to win games with him being okay on a lot of Sundays. Their defense and special teams are great. He doesn't have to throw for 300 yards a game, but they did get him Will Fuller. They have addressed the offensive line. He did go 6-3 as a starter last year, so let's not go crazy. That's why I have them making the playoffs. He does not have to carry them. What he can't be is overwhelmed, and there is pressure in that division, which has some really good defenses.
How much is on Lamar Jackson?
Not much. I'll say 2. I think we expect him to make the playoffs and win a playoff game, but he was an MVP 2 years ago. He's gotten better. Most of the pressure is, hey, can he win more than 1 playoff game? That's not the end of the world.
How many tons of pressure are on Ben Roethlisberger?
1. I think this is his last year. I think he knows it. I think we know he has a bad O-line. I don't think we think he's a Super Bowl team. I think He's a Hall of Famer. I don't see any pressure on him. I think if they go 9-8 or 8-9, he's not going to get all the blame. That's a bad O-line, and they can't run the football, and they haven't run the football since Le'Veon Bell left.
How about Daniel Jones?
Ton of pressure. I'm sorry. They went and got Kenny Galladay. They went and drafted a wide receiver for their first pick. Saquon Barkley's healthy. They have gone out and spent money. This is New York City. He's got Jason Garrett, who's a way above average offensive coordinator. We all like Joe Judge. Their defense is excellent. If they don't win, it's not because of the defense, and it's not because of the coach, and it's not because they don't have weapons. They got Slayton, they got Galladay, they got Sterling Shepard. They got players. This should be a playoff team.
How many tons of pressure on Matthew Stafford?
4. I wouldn't say 5 because it's a great division. And if he didn't win the division, I think we'd be like, okay, the Seahawks won it or the Niners won it. So I'll say only 4. But the Rams gave up 2 first-round picks. Win games.
How about Cam Newton?
1. This is his last year. I don't think he has much to work with. I mean, people celebrated Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne. Let's slow down here. This is a borderline playoff team, if anything, in an increasingly good division. That's our ton of pressure. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.